Now our ABC News exclusive with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, their first TV interview since Ozzy's recovery from a major operation. Chris sat down with them and he joins us now.
Now our ABC News exclusive with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, their first TV interview since Ozzy's recovery.
And now, joining us is none other than patient number 9, me, I suppose. These past 4 years have been nothing short of absolute hell for me. I've been struggling with poor health for over 50 years. Ozzy Osbourne, a name that has defined the very core of heavy metal, rose to fame as the frontman of Black Sabbath and further solidified his legacy with a groundbreaking solo career. His impact on the genre is undeniable. However, like many legendary figures before him, Ozzy now finds himself confronting a battle so intense that no amount of rock and roll spirit can overcome it. "Survival is my legacy," he says, refusing to give in. Never give up. If you've got a passion for something, you've got to find a way to carry on that passion. His wife, Sharon Osbourne, recently shared a heartbreaking update on the daunting challenge this iconic musician is now facing. What exactly is this devastating news that has shaken the rock and roll fan community? What is the challenge that lies ahead for Ozzy Osbourne? Join us as we delve into the details. Known affectionately by his stage name, the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy has ruled the rock and roll stage for over 5 decades. His wild antics, energetic performances, and touching moments have all left an indelible mark on fans across generations. Throughout his career, Ozzy has endured battles with addiction, sustained multiple injuries, and even faced near-death experiences. Through it all, Sharon has remained by his side as a steadfast pillar of support. But now, a new and more profound struggle has emerged, one that the couple is finding increasingly difficult to handle. The heartbreaking turn came when Ozzy was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. While fans were still trying to come to terms with the devastating revelation, Sharon delivered an even more emotional update that cast a shadow over the music world. In a one-on-one interview with The Sun, Sharon opened up in detail about her husband's condition. During this emotional conversation, she dropped the most shocking news yet: Ozzy's Parkinson's disease has progressed to a point where he is no longer able to walk. The image painted by this revelation is difficult to accept. The once unstoppable rock legend, famed for his electrifying stage presence, is now struggling with even the most basic movements. Anyone familiar with Parkinson's disease knows how unrelentingly aggressive it can become. It rapidly affects motor functions, balance, and muscle control. According to Sharon's account during the interview, the disease has had a severe impact on Ozzy's legs, rendering him unable to move independently. She confessed that although they initially hoped to slow the progression, the reality has been far more brutal than they had anticipated. When the diagnosis first came, Sharon says they were somewhat optimistic, believing that while it might alter parts of their routine, they could adapt and carry on with life as usual. In fact, at the time, Sharon even tried to reassure fans by saying, "It's not a death sentence." But in hindsight, she admits they had severely underestimated the disease's toll. Since then, Sharon has taken on the role of Ozzy's full-time caregiver, witnessing his daily struggles firsthand. Despite everything, she remains dedicated to ensuring he gets the best care possible. This new chapter has been deeply painful for the entire Osbourne family. Sharon, who has long been Ozzy's foundation, managing his career and personal well-being, now faces an even heavier burden. As Ozzy's condition worsens, the family has reached the difficult point where they must confront the reality of saying goodbye. It was then that Sharon shared yet another poignant update. After years of uncertainty surrounding his health, Ozzy Osbourne is now preparing for his final farewell. For a musician as passionate as Ozzy, stepping away from the stage permanently is no easy task. It may well be the hardest goodbye of all. This emotional farewell is set for July 5, 2025, where Ozzy will reunite with his original Black Sabbath bandmates for one last performance in Birmingham, the city where it all began. The event, aptly titled Back to the Beginning, is a powerful and well-deserved send-off for a rock legend of his caliber. For the first time in 20 years, the original lineup, Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, will share the stage once more. It will be a chance to reflect on their incredible journey, to relive the memories, and to honor the music that shaped generations. This concert will mark the final performance of Ozzy's illustrious career and offer his bandmates a chance to say their heartfelt goodbyes. For decades, fans have hailed Black Sabbath as the godfathers of heavy metal, and for Ozzy, this final show holds a deeply personal significance. A heartfelt goodbye to the fans who have stood by him through every challenge. Birmingham was the birthplace of Ozzy Osbourne's music journey. It's where he met Tony Iommi, where Black Sabbath was formed, and where heavy metal itself came into existence. Now, in 2025, Ozzy will take the stage one final time in the city that shaped him. His career has been interrupted by health struggles, leading to shortened performances and leaving fans wondering if he would ever return. In 2019, his journey took a devastating turn. Initially, Ozzy and his family kept the nature of his condition private, processing what it meant for his future. However, in 2020, Ozzy and Sharon decided to publicly reveal the news during an emotional interview on Good Morning America. The announcement confirmed what many fans had long suspected: his health problems were much more serious than initially thought. For some time, there had been speculation about Ozzy's struggles on stage and in public appearances, with some believing these were not simply the effects of aging but symptoms of a deeper, underlying issue. The disease quickly began to take a toll on his mobility, and over time, even simple movements became exhausting, with walking becoming increasingly painful. Sharon explained that Parkinson's affects different parts of the body unpredictably, and for Ozzy, his legs were the most severely affected. Some days were better than others, but as time went on, those good days grew fewer and farther apart. Parkinson's was a life-changing diagnosis, but it wasn't the only health crisis Ozzy faced in 2019. That year, he suffered a serious fall at home, which aggravated old injuries from his infamous 2003 ATV accident, where he fractured multiple bones and had metal rods and pins placed in his spine and neck. The fall in 2019 caused those metal implants to become dislodged, resulting in excruciating pain and forcing him to undergo another round of invasive surgeries. The recovery was brutal, as he required multiple procedures to stabilize his injuries, leaving him in a prolonged state of recovery. The combination of Parkinson's and spinal damage made mobility even harder, and Ozzy's ability to walk steadily continued to deteriorate. What once was an occasional struggle with walking became nearly impossible. Despite his efforts in physical therapy and rehabilitation, Ozzy's condition on December 3, 1948. Sharon, ever the optimist, tried to reassure fans, but even she couldn't deny the heartbreaking reality. John Thomas Ozzy's body was no longer able to keep up with the high-energy performances he had once mastered. Lillian worked in a factory, while John, who was affectionately called Jack, worked night shifts as a toolmaker at the General Electric Company. Ozzy was the fourth of 6 children, with 3 older sisters, Jean, Iris, and Gillian, and 2 younger brothers, Paul and Tony. As the middle child in a crowded household, Ozzy often felt overlooked. His struggles with dyslexia only added to the challenges, making school an especially difficult experience. But Ozzy's childhood was not just marked by neglect, it was also defined by deep trauma. At the age of 11, he became a victim of sexual abuse at the hands of school bullies, an experience that left lasting scars. By the time he reached his teenage years, he was battling severe depression and attempted suicide multiple times. The instability of his home life only compounded his emotional struggles. While his mother had a passion for singing, his father was known for his drinking, creating a chaotic environment. Reflecting on his upbringing, Ozzy later described his family as impoverished and violent, recalling the frequent beatings his mother endured at the hands of his father. Witnessing this violence shaped Ozzy in troubling ways. By the age of 7, he had already exhibited aggressive tendencies, forming what he referred to as hanging squads, where he and other children would tie up their peers in school bathrooms. He often engaged in brutal street fights, using whatever he could find: trash can lids, fireplace pokers, and even meat cleavers. In one particularly violent encounter, he tried to drown another boy, later remarking, "Where I came from, it was kill or be killed." By the time he was 14, his struggles with mental health had escalated. In a moment of despair, he attempted to take his own life by fashioning a noose. From his mother's clothesline, Ozzy tried to take his life by jumping off a chair, but his father walked in just in time to save him, only to beat him severely. This dark period in his life was also marked by delinquency. Ozzy developed a habit of stealing, particularly records, to fuel his growing love for music. But then something happened that would change the entire course of his life. As a young teenager, Ozzy idolized the Beatles. After hearing their 1963 hit She Loves You, he became convinced that he was destined to be a rock star. However, his path to fame was anything but straightforward. Dropping out of school at 15, Ozzy worked a series of low-paying jobs, including as a construction laborer, a trainee plumber, an apprentice toolmaker, a car factory horn tuner, and, most notoriously, a slaughterhouse worker. In the slaughterhouse, where he killed up to 250 cattle a day, his growing fascination with death and the macabre took root. This dark interest would later become a defining aspect of his stage persona. At 17, his criminal activities caught up with him when he was arrested for robbing a clothing store. Unable to pay the fine and with his father refusing to help, he was sentenced to 6 weeks in Winston Green Prison. While incarcerated, Ozzy was forced to defend himself against an attack from another inmate, hitting his assailant over the head with a metal chamber pot. Upon his release, Ozzy knew he needed to turn his life around. His love for music, sparked by the Beatles, gave him the direction he needed. Though he had struggled academically, he always had a passion for performing, taking part in school plays like The Mikado and HMS Pinafore, but it was rock and roll that truly called to him. In the documentary God Bless Ozzy Osbourne, he later stated that the moment he heard the Beatles, he knew he was meant to be a rock star for the rest of his life. Despite the darkness of his early years, music became Ozzy's escape, giving him a chance to reinvent himself. He was about to embark on a journey that would not only change his life but also redefine heavy metal forever. Ozzy Osbourne's influence on heavy metal is immeasurable. As the frontman of Black Sabbath, he used the platform to help pioneer a whole new genre. His signature sound was defined by dark, heavy riffs and ominous themes that captivated audiences across the globe. From the eerie opening notes of Black Sabbath in 1970 to the iconic Paranoid, Ozzy's haunting vocals and theatrical presence would forever transform rock music. In 1979, Ozzy left Black Sabbath. Many of his fans feared this move would hurt his career or lessen his impact in the rock scene, but they couldn't have been more wrong. His solo career not only survived but thrived, reaffirming his place as a metal legend. Albums like Blizzard of Ounce, 1980, and Diary of a Madman, 1981, introduced classics such as Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, showing the world that Ozzy was not just the voice of Black Sabbath, he was a powerhouse in his own right. Beyond his music, Ozzy's influence is seen in the countless artists he has inspired. From Metallica to Slipknot, today's biggest rock and metal bands cite him as a key influence. He also played a pivotal role in bringing heavy metal into mainstream culture, whether through the success of Ozfest, which gave numerous bands a platform, or through his larger-than-life persona that kept metal at the forefront of public attention. Ozzy's career has spanned more than 5 decades, and throughout it all, his fans have remained fiercely loyal. Despite the fame and fortune, Ozzy has always felt a deep connection with his audience. Even though there's a physical separation between him and his fans on stage, the mutual respect, admiration, and understanding are clear. No matter how famous he became, he remained one of them. His infamous onstage antics, like biting the head off a bat, and his unpredictable presence, only strengthened his legendary status. Another reason his music stands out is the way it deeply resonates with people. His songs spoke to outcasts, rebels, and those struggling with their own inner demons, making his concerts feel like gatherings of a devoted family rather than just another performance. As news of his final show spread, fans worldwide reacted with a blend of sadness and gratitude. Many have turned to social media to express how Ozzy's music has shaped their lives. Longtime supporters are planning to travel to Birmingham for this historic event, hoping to witness the end of an era firsthand. Others are sharing cherished memories of seeing Ozzy live, recalling how his presence made each performance unforgettable. His performances have always left fans exhilarated and inspired. Even those who never had the chance to see him live understand the immense significance of this farewell. Despite his declining health, Ozzy has remained characteristically candid about his condition. In a recent interview on Ozzy Speaks, his SiriusXM show, he acknowledged the severity of his struggles but also reflected on the fact that his spirit remains unshaken. I've made it to 2025. As the final performance nears, Ozzy knows this is his last opportunity to give back to the fans who've stood by him through everything. I'm still alive, He admitted, Sharon, ever his steadfast supporter, movement played one of his biggest challenges, preserving his likening the feeling in his legs to having his biggest champion and business strategist. She has ensured his name stays to his front and center in hasn't lost his trademark, whether through documentaries, tribute albums, he recognizes his struggles but refuses to let them entirely define him. Ozzy's influence will undoubtedly live on long after he walks off the stage. Although Ozzy Osbourne is stepping away from live performances, his music and legacy will endure for generations. What's your favorite memory of the legendary musician? And how do you feel about his decision to hold one final concert?